It was a gloomy autumn evening, the time when the sun begins its descent, casting long shadows across the forest floor. The dense foliage overhead filtered the fading light, creating an eerie atmosphere. I found myself wandering alone in this desolate woods, the reason for my presence lost in the midst of my thoughts. As the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon, leaving the forest in an impenetrable darkness, my attention was drawn to a faint glow in the distance. Intrigued, I pushed through the underbrush and stumbled upon a desolate cabin nestled among the ancient trees. It stood in solemn silence, a forgotten relic in the heart of the woods. With an inexplicable sense of foreboding, I cautiously approached the cabin. The creaking door swung open with a reluctant groan, revealing an interior shrouded in shadows. A cold breeze swept through, carrying whispers of forgotten tales. Reluctantly, I stepped inside, and the door closed behind me with a hollow thud. The air inside was thick with an unsettling stillness. A single flickering candle on a dusty table cast eerie shadows on the worn wooden walls. My gaze was drawn to a battered writing desk, upon which lay a tattered diary. The cover, weathered and frayed, bore no title, only hinting at the countless secrets within. Unable to resist the lure of the mysterious diary, I opened its pages, revealing a chilling revelation. The ink on the yellowed parchment detailed the tragic events of my own life with a disturbing precision. Every triumph, every heartbreak, every hidden fear was laid bare in the unmistakable hand of my own writing. The entries chronicled moments that I had long forgotten, buried in the recesses of my memory. The diary spoke of encounters that mirrored my own experiences in an uncanny and unsettling way. It was as if the cabin held a dark mirror reflecting the shadows of my past. My heart raced as I delved deeper into the pages, unable to comprehend how this diary, hidden in the heart of a forsaken cabin, could know the intimate details of my life. The entries grew darker, foretelling events that had not yet come to pass, casting a sinister shadow over my future. A profound sense of dread enveloped me, and the walls of the cabin seemed to close in. The air became oppressive, and the flickering candlelight danced with malevolent intent. It was as if the very essence of the forest outside had seeped into the cabin, merging reality with a nightmarish realm of the unknown. I stumbled backward, the diary slipping from my trembling hands, its pages fluttering in the sudden gust of wind. The words echoed in my mind, a haunting chorus of my own fears and insecurities. As I rushed towards the door, desperate to escape the suffocating confinement of the cabin, a chilling whisper echoed through the air. "You cannot escape your fate." The words lingered, sending shivers down my spine. I burst out of the cabin, gasping for breath in the cold night air. The forest, once serene, now felt alive with an ominous presence. The shadows seemed to dance with a malevolent energy, and the trees whispered secrets of a future I dared not face. Alone in the dense forest, I stood at the crossroads of my own destiny, haunted by the inexplicable connection between the desolate cabin and the diary that bore witness to the darkest corners of my soul. The line between reality and nightmare blurred, leading me to question the very fabric of my existence in the haunting silence of the woods. It was a quiet afternoon, the soft glow of the setting sun casting warm hues across the landscape. I found myself in the dusty confines of the attic, surrounded by forgotten relics of the past. The air was thick with nostalgia as I sifted through boxes containing remnants of my childhood. Among the forgotten artifacts, I uncovered a familiar companion, a childhood toy that had long been consigned to the shadows. The toy, a seemingly innocent and unassuming relic from my early years, had the appearance of a cheerful, vintage doll with a quaint smile frozen on its face. Its eyes, though made of plastic, seemed to hold a certain depth, as if they harbored secrets waiting to be unveiled. I couldn't recall playing with it in years, yet the sight of it invoked memories of a time long gone. As I inspected the doll, my fingers traced the edges, feeling the worn fabric and the faint traces of forgotten adventures. It was then that I noticed a small compartment concealed within the doll's back. Intrigued, I delicately opened it, revealing a set of aged cassette tapes. The realization struck me that this seemingly simple toy held more than just memories of innocent play. Curiosity overcoming caution, I decided to play the tapes, inserting one into an old cassette player. The crackling sound of the aged recording filled the room, and a voice, familiar yet distant, emanated from the speakers. It was my own voice, recorded in the innocence of childhood. As the recordings progressed, a chilling revelation unfolded. The messages were not mere snippets of playtime banter, but held the weight of unspoken family secrets. The doll, it seemed, was a vessel of hidden confessions, each message a whispered revelation of the truths that had long been guarded in silence. The recorded voices spoke of fractured relationships, buried resentments, and long-buried family skeletons. Shock and disbelief gripped me as the revelations poured forth, laying bare the raw emotions and untold stories that had shaped the dynamics of my family. It was as if the innocent toy had transformed into a conduit for the suppressed truths that no one had ever dared to speak aloud. The revelations were both haunting and heartbreaking. The tapes chronicled a history of pain, regret, and unspoken words that had festered beneath the surface of familial bonds. As the recordings continued, the atmosphere in the attic seemed to change, growing heavy with the weight of untold stories. In the dimming light, I sat surrounded by the echoes of the past, grappling with the newfound knowledge that the innocent childhood toy held within it the keys to the hidden chambers of my family's history. The secrets, once confined to the shadows, now reverberated through the air, forever altering my perception of the relationships that had shaped my life. As the final tape played, I was left to confront the harsh reality that the toy, once a symbol of innocence, had become a vessel of revelation, laying bare the complexities of family ties that were both beautiful and fraught with the scars of untold truths. The attic, once a sanctuary of forgotten memories, now stood witness to the unraveling of a narrative that had remained concealed for far too long. The childhood toy had become a keeper of secrets, forever altering the trajectory of my understanding of family and the haunting power of the unspoken. The clock struck midnight as I stood before the imposing gates of the abandoned mansion. The air was thick with an otherworldly stillness, and the moon cast an eerie glow on the decaying facade. The invitation, delivered in an ornate envelope, had beckoned me to this desolate place, promising a dinner party that defied the boundaries of the living and the dead. As I crossed the threshold, the grand entrance hall echoed with the haunting whispers of a bygone era. The flickering candlelight revealed a grand staircase leading to the upper floors, and the air was heavy with the scent of aged wood and forgotten memories. The mansion seemed frozen in time, a relic of a past that refused to be buried. The dining room, adorned with tattered tapestries and dusty chandeliers, awaited at the end of a long corridor. As I entered, a spectral ambience enveloped the space. The table was set with antique silverware and crystal glasses, and an otherworldly glow emanated from the center. The chairs, draped in faded fabric, appeared as though they had been patiently waiting for the arrival of a guest. To my astonishment, spectral figures materialized in the dim light, each dressed in attire that spoke of a bygone era. Their faces, etched with the lines of forgotten sorrows, turned towards me as if they had been expecting my presence. A ghostly host, elegant yet tormented, greeted me with a nod. The atmosphere was charged with a palpable tension as the spectral guests gestured for me to take my place at the head of the table. The air grew colder, and a soft murmur filled the room, carrying tales of a cursed lineage that bound me to the ethereal gathering. The ghostly figures spoke with haunting familiarity, addressing me by a name that echoed through the corridors of time. They recounted stories of a family history steeped in tragedy and a curse that transcended generations. The tales unfolded like a macabre tapestry, revealing the interconnected threads of despair and loss that had woven their way through the bloodline. As the spectral banquet unfolded, courses materialized before me, each dish a reflection of the feasts from an era long past. The ghostly guests engaged in conversation, their voices a melancholic symphony recounting the sins and misfortunes that had befallen the cursed family. I, the unwitting guest, became a captive audience to a spectral drama that unfolded with an unsettling familiarity. The ghostly figures insisted that I was the key to breaking the curse, the linchpin in a tale of redemption and release. Their eyes, filled with a desperate longing, bore into mine, urging me to uncover the secrets that lay buried in the shadows of the mansion. The weight of the cursed lineage pressed upon me, and with each revelation, I felt the tendrils of the past tightening their grip. The night wore on, the boundary between the living and the dead blurring in the flickering candlelight. The mansion echoed with the whispers of the spectral guests, their voices a haunting refrain that seemed to reverberate through the walls. As the final course was served, A solemn silence settled over the dining room, and the ghostly figures awaited my decision, a choice that would determine the fate of the cursed lineage and the restless souls bound to the mansion's timeless embrace. Alone in the haunted halls, I faced a crossroads between the echoes of the past and the uncertain future that awaited. The abandoned mansion, a crucible of spectral secrets, held the key to unraveling the cursed tapestry that entwined me with the tragic legacy of those who had come before. The night lingered on, and the shadows of the past whispered their truths, casting a haunting spell that would forever bind me to the enigmatic realm of the spectral dinner party.